Maroof Raza has joined just now. Let's get his thoughts. He's an expert in terms of breaking it down for our viewers. Maroof, good morning. So nice to have you back.
Thank you.
Maroof, purely from a financial market, how should financial markets look at this unfortunate, tragic, sad but true geopolitical situation in Middle East now?
See, as we were discussing, oil prices are subject to stability in the region from where the oil comes, because those who put pricing on oil look at the risk factor involved and therefore shape the prices, whether it goes well beyond $100 or below $100. The second thing is the conflict that is now evolving in the Middle East could suck in other players, which would then also have an impact on the general look at stability in the Middle East. So, as far as the financial markets are concerned, yes, instability in the Middle East always has an impact on oil prices and geopolitics. But the geopolitical situation is still, despite the conflict raging in Israel, is still under control. It depends on what the global powers do beyond condemnation of the attack on Israel and how it pans out onto the world markets and the pricing of oil.
Maroof, as of now, can we say that, look, this is not a Russia versus Ukraine situation. It's not a war between countries. It's a militia group which has done something. There's a military activity which has been carried by a militia group.
Yeah, it is. But, these days, in an era of hybrid wars, anything could escalate into anything. Israel and Wall Street Journal have in particular been pointing hands the Iranian on the attacks. Iran, as you know, is an oil producer. Iran, as you know, is a key player in the Middle East. So it could spill over into, if Israel is cornered, into Israel doing some bombing raids or other things on Iran. It has done that in the past or threatened to. And that then escalate the situation. The other 20-odd Arab countries are generally steering clear of the trouble because they have all become party to various trade arrangements and the trade initiatives after G20 and before G20. Therefore, they don't want to spoil the party.
Right. Maroof, particularly for India's defense, what does this really mean? I mean, could it escalate to something which is alarming for us?
Not really in the near future, but there are three things. One is that there is a large Indian population in the Middle East. Now, if the situation becomes rather volatile, then India has to look at least some evacuations, which it has done successfully in the past. Secondly, if there is an economic plateauing of the situation there, the money repatriated to India by the 8 million odd Indians right across the Gulf countries would suffer. Thirdly, India's position is essentially about standing with Israel, more so because Mr. Modi has a very tight relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu. And therefore, India has incorporated Israel also in the recent IMEC, that is the trade corridor which runs through the Saudi area and goes on to Europe. So India has stakes in place, but I think it's early days to say that India would be suffering from this conflict. Clearly, Israel is a partner of India in fight against terrorism, in providing India military equipment worth almost $2 billion. And Israel is an important player in the Middle East. Therefore, India has roped it in with a slight diversion of the trade corridor. So, Israel-India relationship have gone stronger and stronger under Mr. Modi. Now, the issue is the Palestinian cause. Now, Palestinian cause is something which traditionally we have stood for, but this time the Palestinians feel cornered and abandoned. So, therefore, India has to come out with some odd statement which pacifies the Palestinians who have traditionally had relationships with India. But India is right now a player far off. Really, what the world is looking at is the United States, the Saudis, and the Iranians, how they play their cards.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for putting the very sensitive issue into perspective.